Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com, and we're going to talk about our spiritual awakening and how cognitive dissonance is causing a huge conflict not only in your brain, but between people outside. I'm going to get back to you and explain it in a minute. What am I talking about? I'll give you a basic idea of what cognitive dissonance is first, and then I'm going to go into some examples, some real-life examples that have been happening in my life, and I'm sure yours too. Not only does this apply to what we're going through right now with the coronavirus, it absolutely applies to our spiritual awakening, why some people are waking up and why some people aren't. And I'm going to give you this first right off the bat. The people that aren't waking up, when they wake up, it's going to be a shock, because instead of kind of waking up slowly, they're going to be whack, and it's going to freak them out for a while. Those are the people that are going to fall apart. Those are the people that are going to have nervous breakdowns. If you do awake and you kind of flip out and lose it and cry and, stay inside, that's actually normal. In fact, I recommend stay inside, sleep extra, curl up and love yourself, and, be careful, not be careful, but be compassionate with yourself. That's really important while you're going through this, okay? So that's another story, but let's get to, okay, so let me read this first one off. It's from Lana. She says, as a result of my posts, she's talking about on Facebook, which aren't that controversial, compared to many who post alternative media pages, I believe I've alienated many of my contacts and who think I'm not presenting evidence, blah, 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 because it's not being done in the way that they want it done. And let's see if there's another one. Where's the other one? And there's another girl. Okay, here, Sandra. So Sandra says, I feel really down right now, and I'm wondering if I should just go back to painting my nails and disappear into oblivion. I had the most disappointing conversation with my mom after sending her a clip with a German financial journalist who has been investigating what's been going on for a long time. You know what she said? I can't be bothered. This doesn't affect me in any way. I only believe what the media and news says. So that is definitely disappointing. Hold on a second. But that's what you're going to get. So you're going to get a lot of people that are just, and they're staying here because that's their comfort zone. They don't want to step outside of that box, and it scares the crap out of them. So it's like, go along with the government, go along with the media. We're cool. Just keep going down that path. Whatever they say, that's reality. I read something from, I don't know if it was a Canadian post or if it was from Europe, probably European, I believe. It's a gut feeling. Or someone from the UK, and they basically said, well, that's the American thing, is they only believe it if it's on television. If it's not on television, then they don't believe it. And as embarrassing as that is to admit, a lot of Americans are like that. I used to be like that until I woke up when I was 20 years old. So let me give you a personal experience in my life that happened. All right. So in the last 4 or 5 weeks, really recently, the last 2.5, 3 weeks, especially one that happened about 10 days ago. So Stanford, the University of Stanford medical facility, had announced that, okay, so I don't know if you've heard about, but California's curve is so low that all the scientists and doctors going, because they were expecting all this trauma, emergencies in the hospitals, and they were going to be overwhelmed. And they're like, what happened? Well, here's what they're believing, and they are now researching and studying and testing people for the antibodies for the coronavirus. What they believe is that back in, like they say, last year, so we don't really know if it's September, October. Most people think it's November, December. Now, I actually had it in December. I'm sure of it. Now, when some people brought it up to me about 4 weeks ago, I'm like, God, Michael, you were complaining of the same exact symptoms. It wasn't until 2 days ago, because I did research and thought, okay, well, those are the symptoms, and I did have those. And it wasn't until 2 days ago, this news lady, I can't remember her name, but she's fairly famous, and she's at home, and she's recovering, so she made a video and also an article about what it was. And when she explained that she got really sick, and it went for like a while, and then it dropped off, and she thought she was getting better like a week later. And that's exactly what happened. And she goes, and then all of a sudden, about a day and a half, 2 days later, I got sick again, and I was, dry throat and coughing, all that stuff. And she goes, and then it did it again. I thought, oh my God, this is what happened to me. Because I was telling her, like this thing that you think it's going away, and then it comes right back. So here's my point. California, This is what UC Stanford is saying, is that last year we already got it. So they're calling it the herd immunity. They're saying California is already immune. That's why they believe that the curve was so low, because one of the things that they're feared, we have 40 million people in the state of California. That's a huge concentration of people, especially on the coast from San Francisco all the way down to LA to San Diego, okay? And the other thing is, so concentration of people. The other thing is we have a huge homeless population, and they were afraid that was going to make it spike also. So now they're going, well, what happened? Okay? So I told this to a friend of mine. There's actually two, but one in particular, he flipped out. No, there's bodies everywhere. We're all going to die. And I'm like, whoa, this is normally like a really stable guy. And I'm just kind of like, he's a professional. He owns a big business. And I'm like, whoa, I go, you should really read this article. He goes, no, I'm not going to read it. I was like, what? Why? I go, it'll take you it's a short article. So here's what's going on. Okay, I'll be right back. So here's what's going on. Okay, so let me read this off. So here's what I wrote. I'm an NLP trainer, master hypnotherapist, and communication expert, and consciousness coach. I was talking to a client yesterday about how people were blowing up. And so everyone keeps asking me, like, well, what is going on? Like, you would think they want to hear this good news. And that's the thing that is really tripping people out. Like, you know, and here's what I've noticed, how aggressive people have been. Like, no, it's not like they're going, oh my God, they're being aggressive. Like, they're trying to enforce that this coronavirus is real and we're all going to die. And no one's denied that it's real. And all this stuff. And so I'm like, well, like, why are people so intense? It's almost like they're motivational coaches for spread of coronavirus, it's like really weird. It's like, what's going on here? Like, you would think you'd at least want to read from an article from some medical doctor, scientists from University of Stanford and other places, but they don't want to even hear it. It's like they don't want to hear the good news. Here's why. So let me read this again. I'm an NLP trainer, master hypnotherapist, communication expert, and consciousness coach. I was talking to a client yesterday about how people and why people are blowing up. The answer is, a lot of people feel safe hiding in their illusions, and waking up for them is a very, very hard and very, very scary thing. So they will fight, argue, and even push you away to defend their illusions. They literally don't know how to live without them. Truly waking up is a very, very scary thing to do. Most throw that word around, not having a clue what it means. Good luck, everyone. So my website is called Spiritual Awakening, because what I've been doing with people for over 25, close to 30 years is waking people up. And I will tell you, when I went through my awakening, it scared the crap out of me. Watching my clients go through it, it's very scary for them. Now, if they didn't have a coach to walk them step by step, like right now, I've got a lady, Stephanie, I want to give a shout out to you. She's going through her own awakening right now. It's really beautiful to watch. Now, I know she's like, what do you mean beautiful? Because someone said that to me a long time ago. And I was like, what are you talking about? So it's not all bad, though. There's a lot of goodness, especially the more you get through it, the more and more you open up. You're like, oh, okay. It's almost like you can see that 90% of the danger, it's an illusion. It's a lie. Have you ever heard the phrase FEAR, fear, false evidence that appears real? I remember the first time Tony Robbins said that to me when I was 19 years old. I just looked at him like, you're nuts, because I lived in fear. And the thing is, you cling to it and you don't even know you're doing it. There was a metaphor that we were taught in Hawaii. Again, I was probably about 21 years old during this 5-week NLP hypnosis energy healing. It's a Hawaiian huna energy healing. It's kahunas and all that stuff. It's called huna. And there was a metaphor. It's the first time I saw it, but I've read it in a couple other personal development books. But it basically goes, there's all these crabs and they're holding on to the rocks at the bottom. And they looked at the water and they look at things floating by. And every now and then they'll see one crab let go and just kind of float away right with the water. And then there's that one crab that wants to let go, but it's afraid. And finally it can't take it anymore. And it lets go. And it starts to float away. And everyone's like, oh my God. And then he finds freedom and he can move around and go and come as he pleases. It's a wonderful place to be. Believe it or not, but clinging to the rocks is the worst thing that you can do. Holding on is the worst thing you can do. that's where you get battered. That's where you get smashed. That's where the waves are constantly smashing up against you. Where when you go with the waves, you can steer where you go. And if you see a rock, you can steer away from it, go around it, and you're with the flow. It's a wonderful place to be. I know because I've been living there for years. So now let's get to cognitive dissonance, okay? Okay, so I'm going to drop this image in there for you to read. I think it's real. I'm also going to do another video about my clients, especially male clients, when they go through my course called Crack the Female Code on how to meet women, approach women, attract women, seduce women. You might think, what does that have to do with this? Well, my male clients come in thinking like a male. And the whole goal of the course is to get them to open up to the right brain, because that's the female brain, because the female's mating system is connected to her right brain's communication processor. Whereas the male mating system's in the same place in the lower reptilian brain like hers, but it connects to the optic nerves and connects to the eyes. So here's my point. They're men. They think like men. They use the logic brain, and they're linear and logical, and they try to pick up on women like that. They try to save their marriage like that. They try to romance a woman like that. And man, women don't like it. Here's the deal. A lot of my clients going through the course have like this nervous breakdown. Some break down and cry. I'm going to make another video about this because the next video is going to be about that. I don't want to get off track. All right, so this whole cognitive dissonance thing affects every area of your life, and it really is about waking up or staying asleep, okay? So let me read this off here. I'm going to drop this image down there. So it's an image of a brain, blue electrical lightning in the background and clouds or whatever. So it says, this is why people get upset. When their beliefs are challenged, it's called cognitive dissonance. A mental conflict occurs when beliefs are contradicted by new information. This conflict activates areas of the brain involved in personal identity and emotional response to threats. The brain's alarms go off when a person feels threatened on a deeply personal and emotional level, causing them to shut down and disregard any rational evidence that contradicts what they previously regarded as truth. Here's the deal. I had a lot of clients over the years kind of flip out and freak out. And I finally wrote a book called Crack the Female Code. I said, you have to read this book before you take my course because it presets their brain. It shows things in advance, what we're going to go over, what we're going to learn. And so they don't walk in fresh with totally being over here. So they kind of come over a little bit going, so you're saying this stuff, huh? So at least they're open to the idea of it, okay? So what we're going through right now is this. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. We are going through an ascension. We as humans, as spirits, as being, the entire planet, the energy of the planet literally is beginning to expand and ascend to the next level. Some people are clinging to the rocks, and some of us are clinging, and a lot of people are letting go right now because my phone's ringing off the hook. People are talking to me on the street. People are walking up to me. Clients of mine are saying, hey, my buddy's going through it right now. And for some people, it's very scary. So when you're still clinging to the rocks, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe, because you're looking through life through this tunnel. And whenever you expand, you're like, oh, shit, it kind of scares you, even if it's good. That's the weird thing about it. I'll give you a really good example. Okay, so, all right, here's a real life example. So a long time ago, my sister convinced me to go see this great therapist that she thought was great. And I was like, why? And she goes, just go. I was like, okay. So this one experience helped me understand something. So she goes, well, how are you? I was like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing the national champion of kickboxing, got a full-time job, part-time, going to college. Everything's great. And so we started talking about stuff. And she asked me a question. She goes, all right, Michael, when you were a kid, was there ever a time in life when things were good? Your mom had money, the bills were paid, everything was caught up, everyone got good grades at school, no one was like everything was, I was like, oh yeah, of course. There was times like that. She goes, but did you notice when there were times like that, after a couple of days to a week or so, your mom would do something to cause chaos? And I kind of thought, like, yeah, she did that all the time. And she goes, the reason why is because she's used to living in chaos. And when things are peaceful and smooth, she didn't know how to deal with it. I go, yeah, but my mom wanted that. She goes, a lot of people do, but when they finally get there, it kind of freaks them out because what do I do? Well, you don't do nothing. And a lot of people can't deal with that. So even though it's a really good place to be, it's very peaceful, it's very calm, it's scary to some people who've lived in chaos their whole life. All right. So it could be the reverse, where you go from peaceful and calm to chaos, like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. So all we're doing is expanding what Tony Robbins calls our circle of influence. All right. And the more you expand, every time you expand, you're, but then you get used to it after a while. Oh, okay, this is your circle of influence. But then when you expand again, oh my God, that is very similar to what waking up is. And it can be very terrifying, because you live life like this is the way life is. And this is how most people go through life. And when someone comes along, it's like, no, actually read this article from Stanford University. Everything's going to be fine. Turns out they're doing the study right now, testing people's antibodies up and down California. And they're like, I don't want it. It's like, and I was like, whoa, what are you so mad about? Like, it really flipped me out. It's because they have these like beliefs, like this is the way it is. I've accepted it, and because that's a part of you. You might think, but don't they want to hear the good news? What it is, a lot of people are like, I can't do this anymore. I can't shift and change. And that's what this whole thing with this coronavirus is doing to people. It's throwing all this information at people. First it's death and dying. Then it's like, oh, I think we're going to be okay. Then death and dying. Oh, we're going to be okay. Right? That's causing a lot of cognitive dissonance. And someone like me comes along and says, hey, I found this article. I found this YouTube video of this doctor from Stanford. I found this other thing. And I just want to stay here in death and dying. And that, my folks, is what's going on with people. It's causing them to freak out. So let me read a couple quick memes to you. I'll put them in there and I'll wrap this up. All right, so let's do this one first. This one says, you are not going to wake anybody up anymore. We're basically at end game. There are things that are about to start happening everywhere that's going to freak the shit out of people. Now, this was written about a week ago. I found it, maybe. It says, back away from trying to wake them up. They're comfortably asleep. They're where they want to be. And unfortunate as it is, when the crap does hit the fan, they're going to look around and say, why didn't anybody say anything? We did. We have been. We've been trying to wake you up. All right. So let me read the next one. So here's an example. Someone posted a meme, I don't know how long ago. And the guy in the top is the same guy, but in the top image he says the coronavirus vaccine is going to eliminate the coronavirus. On the bottom he says, just like the flu vaccine eliminated the flu. Because they haven't eliminated the flu. It keeps coming back every year. And that's why the guy's like smiling and laughing. So here's another one. If you have awakened, it is because you've chosen to be awakened. Be grateful. Not everyone will be chosen. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. If you are struggling right now with fear, anxiety, freaking out about the coronavirus, go ahead and get a hold of me. I'm coaching people right now. I'm walking them through this. And I will tell you one thing that all of my clients will tell you. After you talk to me, might take 2 or 3 phone sessions or more, you will calm down, okay? Hey, go to Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. I would really appreciate it if you would just go to my website. It gives me more traffic. Google, amps it up, which really would help me out. It's MikeCollin.com. Remember, click subscribe. I finally just got 800 subscribers today. All I need to do is get 200 more, go over 1,000, and then YouTube has to start paying me. And I would really, really appreciate it. I've been working hard on this. And if you want, go ahead and give me a donation. There's a button. There's a link right down there in the description. See you guys soon. Stay safe, stay healthy.